So I hear a rumor you're tracking all our internet activity. So is it true? Because I can explain all that Gmail stuff.
When you think of Special Agent Frank Lundy and his connection to knowing who the Bay Harbor Butcher is, you most likely think not much of it. What if I told you that from the early days of the Bay Harbor Butcher investigation, Frank Lundy knew exactly who it was? And in this video, I'm going to be going over why exactly I think Frank Lundy knew exactly who Dexter Morgan was and why he seamlessly didn't do anything about it. Special Agent Frank Lundy is introduced in the second season of the show. He first appears in the third episode of the season titled An Inconvenient Lie, which originally aired on October 14th, 2007. Lundy is brought into the story as an FBI agent with a reputation for solving high-profile serial killer cases. He is assigned to lead the investigation into the Bay Harbor Butcher, who, unbeknownst to the authorities, is actually Dexter Morgan, the protagonist of the show. Lundy's role is pivotal because his investigation creates significant tension and challenges for Dex, who must carefully navigate the scrutiny of an experienced and intelligent investigator while continuing his dark activities. Lundy's character also serves as a love interest for Deborah Morgan, Dexter's sister, which adds additional layers to the narrative, intertwining professional and personal stakes for the main characters. His introduction raises the stakes for Dexter, as Lundy represents a formidable threat to Dexter's secret life. In an r/Dexter Reddit feed talking about Frank Lundy knowing Dexter's true darkness, there was someone who undergoes the name Castile Slays who provided a keen insight into their relationship. He senses something but doesn't want to believe it's that. Everyone has tussled with this idea because of season 2's interrogation meant to leave you on the edge of your seat. But I think that due to tense feelings about Deborah, he won't allow his mind to go there and instead view him as a resource, like extra budget in the FBI funding that only he can access. If Dexter is the Butcher exclusively kills serial murderers primarily, only murderers in general. Lundy unraveled the Butcher, if not Dexter, and he recognizes that the Butcher poses absolutely no threat to the public. Since the Butcher only kills criminals that the legal system failed to apprehend, there is no realm where the world is worse off for the Butcher still being out there. Lundy was forced to take the Butcher down because he was alerted to an underwater graveyard of 24 corpses? That's serious shit. But if he had a choice and could choose to chase the Butcher or a killer that kills innocents, I believe he would choose the other every time, very intentionally avoiding the Butcher until a superior forced him to take that particular case. This interesting idea of Lundy knowing about Dexter would solidify and validate itself even more upon the arrival of season 4.
Hello, Dexter Morgan.
In season 4, we were introduced to potentially Dexter's biggest threat yet, Trinity. Trinity is a serial killer who goes around North America killing in pairs of 3, which in reality, as we further learn, is actually 4. Trinity has been doing this for more than 30 years and has never been caught. We learned that Frank Lundy proposed this idea to the FBI, but was later rejected by the Bureau. As we see from the beginning shots of season 4, Trinity is now in Miami and is going to replicate his routine killing. This brings a retired Lundy to Miami, and we see him actually warn Dexter about this so-called Trinity.
I mean, if Trinity had struck in Buffalo instead of Miami, I wouldn't have access to a blood guy of your caliber.
Well, thanks for that.
Now, although this is subtle, it means a whole lot more than you think. Lundy knows this mass murderer is going to be hard to catch in the hands of the strict law. By Frank knowing Dexter's dark intention, he tells him in a way to take care of it, since Dexter is a man who does not follow the law when it comes to providing justice. On the contrary, people tend to suggest that this theory is wrong in its entirety. In a Quora post by Kelly Russo, she mentions the fact that Frank Lundy in fact had no clue Dexter was who he was, and that it was something viewers rather misinterpreted. No, he Even though Frank Lundy was excellent at reading people, he saw Dexter through the lens of the context as Deborah's brother. Frank Lundy noticed that Dexter was smarter than people think. I think Lundy noticed that there was something more to Dexter, but not specifically anything nefarious about him. Lundy may have caught on to Dexter if he wasn't killed, but we'll never know. Another interesting perspective comes from a Quora post by the name of Dexter Morgan, who was a former blood-spatter analyst at Miami Metro Police Department from 2006 to 2013. Know about what? He knew I existed, obviously, but what else is there to know? I didn't know any extra details about the Bay Harbor Butcher case, but if I did, I'm sure he would have got a little guess. But beyond that, it'd be most just apprehensiveness, cause in his career, you can never be too sure. That's why I would be better as a killer. Harry said, be sure. Not that I do kill, of course, I'm just a lumberjack.
I should have fucking killed you when I had the chance.
With all this knowledge about Frank Lundy knowing who the Bay Harbor Butcher is, there really isn't one single right answer, as this is just a theory and not actually canon to the show's story. I think that the writers did a great job in writing Frank Lundy's character with Dexter Morgan, and that it really helps us, the viewers, come up with these cool and interesting theories that ponder in our minds when we are in bed. Although the fact that Frank Lundy knew about Dexter might not be true, it's something that has been looked into time and time again, with fans of the show revisiting and putting it to the test to see if it's real or not. Personally, I believe that Frank Lundy was in fact aware of who the Bay Harbor Butcher was, but it gets complicated. When really diving into the characters, although at times it may seem logical for Lundy's character to not react towards who the Bay Harbor Butcher really is, at other times it almost seems out of character for him not to put Dexter in handcuffs even if he thinks what he's doing is somewhat good for the world. This is mostly due to the fact that Lundy has been involved with the FBI for quite some time and probably climbed up the ranks with his outstanding and justice-oriented work of how the law works in our society. Unfortunately, we will never really know whether Special Agent Frank Lundy knew the truth behind Dexter, and that's just something fans will have to learn to accept and keep dreaming. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think Lundy knew all along, or do you have reason to believe that people have come to misinterpret the way the show portrayed Frank and Dexter's relationship? Leave a comment down below, and if you enjoyed the video, I'd greatly appreciate a like, and consider subscribing for more of these types of videos. I'll see you next time.